Inspyre!
Assalamu alaikum. May the peace and blessings of God be with you. Welcome to Inspyre Productions. Today's topic is going to be on the excellence of rising to new heights. We're here at the Gatineau Park enjoying some nature, and I'll introduce you to our speaker today. He's none other than Dr. Mohamad Jebara, and I'll be asking him a few questions around some of the elements of nature and how that sort of translates into personal growth and how we can take some lessons from nature to better our own selves. Join me. How are you today?
Very well, my dear friend.
It's so nice to see you again, and especially in a beautiful day like this. I would like to maybe get your thoughts on the essence of the beauty of nature and how that we as humans can learn from some of the beautiful elements of nature to inspire our own personal growth.
Bismillah wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulillah. So first, I would like to begin with a tradition of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, in which he said, Inna Allah kataba al-ihsana ala kulli shay. That God has ordained excellence and perfection in all the things that you do. So whatever you do, you try to aim for excellence and make it as perfect and as great as possible. And we can see that in nature. So a great story, we have the story of the Prophet Sulaiman alayhi salam, where one time King Solomon was sitting and he wanted to achieve something that had in mind, and the more times he tried, the more he found it wasn't working. So he felt, what's the use? Every time I try a different method, it keeps ending in failure. So one day he was sitting underneath a tree and he saw a small ant that was carrying a piece of grain and was trying to climb a small hill. And every time it would go up, it would roll all the way down. And he watched the ant once, twice, thrice, 4 times, until it reached over 100 tries. And it didn't give up. It kept going back and forth until at the last try, it finally made it up the hill. So he learned the lesson, and of course, teaching us a lesson as well, is that if you persevere, you will attain the level and height that you are aiming for. You will attain the goal. And this we learn from nature.
Yes.
So the more a person spends time out in nature, the more they will extract from its wisdom, and the more successful they will be in their endeavors. If you go to cities where they have underground transportation, subways for example, the model is taken from the ants. So the method of how the tunnels are built, how they are dug up, in the way that they're established one from the other, taken from ants.
Yeah. Yes. It's really, really amazing. Now, as we look around, we're approaching the fall season.
Yes.
We have the pleasure to enjoy some of this nice weather today. What can we learn from the changing nature of what we see around us?
So the changing nature of the forest and the changing of the leaves, it teaches us that life does change. It's not static. And we have to learn to enjoy each stage of life as it comes. So in youth we are in a certain stage and we enjoy youth as it is, and old age has its own beauty as well. It's like every stage in life. It also subconsciously teaches us of the temporary state of the world, that we're not here permanently, and that life will have to go on without us, and the world will continue with or without us. And this teaches us to be more conscious and try to look more within, to attain a level of self-consciousness and ultimately divine consciousness as well.
Now, I'm curious though, a lot of people today, they're interested in a lot of these self-help type books and things that will help them grow personally, to achieve newer heights. Is there anything that we can deduce from our surroundings that will give us some inspiration or lessons on how to achieve those new heights?
Go out into nature and allow nature to guide you. Allow the beautiful breeze to inspire you.
Yeah.
Because inspiration is deep within. We know that God has placed that spark deep within us. And we need a catalyst, something to spark it, to allow it to surface. And many times you will find that in nature. And that's what the Quran advises, saying, وَيَتَفَكَّرُونَ فِي خَلْقِ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ. Ponder, reflect into the creation. Go out into nature, spend time in nature, spend time to meditate in nature, and you'll find that inspiration will fill your soul and will fill you, and you'll find that it will help you understand things you had not understood before. It will also allow you, as we saw with the Prophet and the King Sulaiman alayhi salam, Solomon, it allowed him to rise to new heights where he learned from the example of the ant. And of course, in honor of such an example, we have a chapter in the Quran which we call Surah An-Naml, which is in honor of ants, as we have also a chapter in honor of the bees.
Yes.
And we also have a chapter in honor of the spider.
Yes.
So these are all things in nature which we're supposed to learn from, extract lessons from. And these are names of chapters in the Quran.
There you go. There you go. You know, I've always wondered, these chapters in the Quran that talks about, you know, the spider, the bee, the ant, you know, is there anything in common, a common theme or a message that God really wants us to take away? I know they all have their unique characteristics and their, you know, their certain strengths around, you know, the way that they survive in nature. But is there a common theme that we can take away?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
And that is the theme of perseverance. And with all of these creatures, they persevere. We have a nursery rhyme or song for children. Inky Dinky Spider went up the water spout. Down came the rain and washed the spider out. So when the sun comes out, dries up there, what did the spider do? Went up the spout again, right?
Yes.
So this is the way nature is.
Yes.
They don't give up.
Yeah.
A spider builds its web. We walk through it, it goes and builds another one again. We're digging, we dig up an ant village, the ants go and rebuild it again. They don't sit around moaning, they don't sit around groaning, they don't feel sorry for themselves. Say, okay, no problem, let's go and do it again.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we can learn as human beings. I think that a lot of times when tragedies and tribulations befall us, it makes us feel low and down. For some people, it causes them to go down so much in a level that they don't become productive anymore.
Yes.
For most people, they do come out of that, but it does take us time. For some people, more than others.
Yes.
So with animals and with creatures in nature, we find that they don't have that. It doesn't take them a duration to regenerate and go on with their lives and rebuild.
Yes.
With humans, it does.
It does. You know, and I think it's just part of the weakness of human nature. But I feel that sometimes it's important for humans to take the time to heal and to reflect upon, you know, the things that they did not achieve well, so that they can do some course correction to hopefully, you know, do better the next time around. But the goal is to I think what I'm hearing is, look around you. The simplest of creatures and insects around us, you know, they pick up and they keep going.
They keep going.
So you absolutely...
They don't give up.
Exactly, you know. So I think there's a lesson there for sure. You know, it's funny you mentioned about the spider. I'll give you a quick story. Right outside of my my home on my side yard, there was a spider that built a pretty intricate web. And one of my daughters observed it because it was just around the path that she normally takes to go to the backyard. And she told me, Daddy, you have to get rid of it. So hesitantly, I went, I got rid of it. I, you know, carefully got a leaf and I held the spider there, took it away, and I took care of the web. Do you know, within one day, the web was back there, bigger, and the spider was there, and it also had some little hatchlings. Yeah. So again, you know, the perseverance definitely, you know, shows through. I see the sun coming out, and you know, that to me again gives me a sense for, you know, kind of rebirth. And you know, every day we observe, and sometimes we take it for granted that, you know, at night it's dark, we have a sense of calm, but in the day, you know, the sun shines again.
Yes.
What can we learn from just the movement of, you know, the sun and the moon, the night and the day? What lessons can we draw from that?
From the example of the sun, the Quran speaks about الشمس وضحاها. We have Surah Al-Duha, وَالضُّحَى وَاللَّيْلِ إِذَا سَجَى, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, where God is telling us that regardless of how dark the night may seem, regardless of how dark the situation may seem to you when you're going through times of tribulation and difficulties, remember that it won't last, that one day the sun will rise again. In the same way that the sun rises to take away the darkness, that times of difficulty are not going to last, that they will be followed by times of ease. So then he tells us in another chapter, إِنَّ مَعَ الْعُسْرِ يُسْرًا, that with severe times of tribulation and difficulty, there's ease intertwined that's actually right there. And sometimes we find that God's mercy is enveloped by difficulty. So that states of difficulty may come to make us stronger, may come to revitalize us, may come to prepare us for something greater. And that is what the example of the sun rising every day teaches us. That even if it's cloudy and dark, we'll always have patches of sunlight coming in to show you some hope. So you don't lose that momentum.
So that hope is so important.
Hope, exactly. So that comes, you have perseverance and we have hope. And then you have the most important, to link the two, which is to have trust in the deity. Trust in the deity unseen, in the mover of all that moves, God Almighty, who's behind all this, who makes this world so beautiful, beautifying it for us and perfecting it.
You know, that's so important for us to remember, because if you just look around and you turn on the news channels, you know, for 1 second, sometimes it's pretty disheartening, the things that you hear about, and it can be a source of stress for many when they think about what can they do to make the world a better place around them. You know, how can they change things? But sometimes, you know, you look at the situation, it's complicated. I wonder, you know, if there's any, you know, remedy, again, for people to, you know, maybe just, you know, realize that there is that hope.
Yes, there is.
And you know, to cling on to that rope of hope then.
God's rope of hope.
Exactly. You know, is there any specific verses in the scriptures that give us, you know, that sense of hope and that sense of, you know, rebirth, that, you know, things will get better?
Oh, definitely. We see that in nature, in the spring when butterflies are coming out, you have a little worm on the ground, and it goes into a cocoon and it comes out into this majestic, beautiful butterfly. That a lot of times we have to look at everything, that there is beauty in everything, and there is something positive in everything. Even in tribulations and even in difficulties, there's always something beautiful hidden within. If we look at an oyster shell, when the oyster shell is in its time of tribulation, when dirt or rocks or things come inside to bother it and place it in a state of extreme discomfort, what does it do? It takes that state of extreme discomfort and makes it and turns it into a beautiful, precious pearl. So that is what we have to remember, is that there are times of difficulty, and what can we do about it? Start within. Work on my own self, and don't ever underestimate the impact that you can make and leave upon the world, you as an individual. Because remember that precious, beautiful crystal glass is made from what? From common sand. And that each of us can make that positive difference. What can I do? smile at
Yeah.
everyone that you see.
Yeah.
Try to give a helping hand to anyone that you can. The little things, don't underestimate the little things, because it's the little things that actually create the greatest impact. Drops of water drip slowly upon the rock and they can split it.
Yes.
So don't underestimate the
Yes.
impact that you can have. Even the little things that you can contribute to the world, they can make a drastic great difference.
So the small deeds are better than the greatest of intentions.
And that's why the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said that the best of deeds are which?
Yeah.
Those that are consistent.
Right.
Even if they're so small.
Yeah.
But they're consistent. They're better than a big, great deed that you do once in a while.
Yes.
Do good little deeds here and there, and they're consistent. They will leave the greatest impact.
Yes. Yes. Well, that has certainly been inspirational for me, and I hope it's a message that we can take forth around us.
Amen.
And really remember that complete trust in God, the continuing to have hope, and then looking around us, just observing our nature. There's
Yes.
so much to learn from that.
And the most important thing, perseverance.
Perseverance.
Always
there you go.
persevere.
Thank you for joining us. Hopefully you can join us again next time. Looking forward to see you. Assalamu alaikum. May the peace and blessings of God be with you.
Inspire!